So we have our roof here, we have our building, and on our building we want to add a gutter going around, or eaves trough, otherwise known, going around this top perimeter. And so let's start by creating a box. And the one thing with doing the follow me command that we're about to do is we need a profile to follow. So I'm going to start by creating a box at the top of our fascia. And now when we go to hide our roof, we will have second floor roof. We'll have this box here. And again, that box is at the top of our fascia. And I don't need to bring it back, but I just want to see that box here. And so before we go too far, let's get into a group here to keep ourselves organized. So let's go into our mouse here, let's select. And let's make sure we don't select our ceiling. So right now we're just selecting that plane. We could have hit our ceiling to be sure. Maybe I'll do that for the second time since I unclicked that by accident. So we got our ceiling plane here. Now that I hid my ceiling, we can be a little bit easier with that. Let's right click, let's go make group. And there's a lot of different styles of gutters. You can do more of a box style gutter. You can have a semicircle. So lots of different ways to do a gutter. So let's go into our group here and let's edit our gutter. I'm just going to grab the pencil line and I'm going to find the center of our object. It doesn't really matter where you do this, but I'm just going to find the center. And our fascia, I believe, was around 6 inches. So let's go down 6 inches here. And then we'll go out in this green line, 6 inches. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to create a straight up box. And what this is going to allow me to do is just kind of see where I'm working. So that's what we want our gutter to be, in that element. And so now how we set that up is completely up to you. I think the one thing that may be good to do with a gutter is you want to have a profile. And what that means is we're not going to just have a line, we're going to have a thickness to that line. And so what you'll often see is you'll have some sort of flashing up here. Maybe let's go over like a 1/4 inch. Let me just think here for a second. Yeah, let's go over a 1/4 inch. We don't need to have a super thick profile, but maybe we'll come straight down with that profile. And then out here on the outer edge, maybe we'll come in a 1/4 inch as well. And we can go straight down. So that'll be the thickness of our gutter. And sometimes when it comes to these objects like this, from a rendering purpose, sometimes it's actually good to make it a little thicker than it is in reality, just to exaggerate what it looks like in 3D. But realistically, a gutter like this is sheet metal, so it's like, less than 1/8 of an inch thick. It's 1/16 of an inch thick. It's super thin. So when it comes to a gutter, with a typical box gutter, you'll have something. You maybe go down, instead of 6 inches, maybe you go down 4. And that 4 inches is right about here. And then we'll come over probably another 4 inches. And then oftentimes on a box gutter, we'll have some sort of detail here. And so maybe we'll come up like this. I'm just going to extend this line up all the way with this pink. And then what we want to do is just add that 1/4 inch everywhere. So we'll go up 1/4 inch. We can also use, I could bring this line over like this, and we can use the offset tool. So we can offset this 1/4 inch. Sometimes that's a little easier to do than trying to fully create that profile. And so now let's do some erasing like that. And then on our top line here, we just want to connect these pieces and erase those 2 top parts here. And so now we have this profile that we can follow around our building. And so let's click our tools. Let's go down to follow me. And let's click our object. And let's start following it around. like so, and we'll keep going and bring it back to that point. And sometimes it goes a little squirrely like that, but if you let it go back to that original point, it'll work. And then what we'll do is we'll delete our center here. Delete our center with the delete command. And then we can bring back on, we'll close our group, we'll bring back on our layers, bring back on our ceiling, bring back on our roof. And now we have this kind of gutter profile going around the outside of our building. And so I just kind of did that randomly, but maybe before you create your gutter, you should look at some gutter profiles on Google and just try to roughly trace out that profile. The semicircle is one of my favorites just because it's a super clean looking profile. The other profile that I really like, and maybe this is just the designer and me talking, is making a profile that's super boxy. It's either like having this nice simple curve or boxy. I don't really like anything in between. I mean, if we were doing a more traditional house, maybe you could do a more traditional gutter, but I just find they look a little tacky. Whereas if it's simple, even on a traditional house, it looks better. So those are my obviously personal opinions about the gutters, but that's how to do the gutters.